Hi everybody, welcome back to F9 Gaming. This time round we are looking at 10 game series that we think need a reboot or refresh. Up first we've got Jet Set Radio Future. First released on a Sega Dreamcast in 2000, the follow-up was released as an exclusive for the original Xbox back in 2002. Since then, 21 years have passed without a third game. While Microsoft did try to get it as a backwards compatible game for later consoles, this proved unsuccessful. Next up we have FZero, a staple on Nintendo consoles until the GameCube. FZero also hasn't been seen since 2004, when FZero Climax was released for the Game Boy Advance. Its fast-paced futuristic racing was often compared to Wipeout back in the day, and while rumours of a GX remaster have resurfaced recently, the nearest you're going to get is playing the older games via Nintendo Switch Online. Third on our list we have Star Fox. Another pillar in Nintendo's previous success was the Star Fox and Starwing games. First released on the Super Nintendo back in 1993, Fox McCloud hasn't been seen in a mainline game since Star Fox Zero on the Nintendo Wii U back in 2016. With no port of this game on the cards as far as we know, maybe it's time for the furry-faced heroes to come back with a brand new game for 2024, and much like the return of Metroid has reignited passion with many of Nintendo's fanbase, maybe it's time for a reboot. Probably one of the most underrated games to ever be released, Noire, released by the GTA publishers Rockstar, failed to capitalise on just how unique and fun this game could actually be. Dismissed by many for not being GTA enough, despite its many accolades, the game never got a sequel. While it did get a modern day remaster and re-release for Xbox One, PS4 and even Nintendo Switch, any hopes of a sequel are well and truly dashed, as the company that made the game, Team Bondi, have closed and gone out of business, with Rockstar not having any plans for a future game. The Xbox version of Mario Party, but without the board. Fusion Frenzy was a series of mini-games pitting you against 3 of your friends or CPU-controlled characters. The game received a follow-up on the Xbox 360 when that launched. Although the original is backwards compatible for Xbox One, a third game never materialised, and we've been left wishing and hoping for one for over 15 years. If Microsoft needed distraction from their legal battles regarding the Activision takeover, how about giving us a new Fusion Frenzy game? Which brings us nicely to our next game, Project Gotham Racing. Spun off from a previous series on the Dreamcast, Metropolis Street Racer, Project Gotham Racing spawned 4 games in its lifetime across the original Xbox and Xbox 360, the last one released back in 2007. Its creators, Bizarre Creations, were bought by Activision and since then announced that Project Gotham 4 was the last game they would be producing for Microsoft Game Studios. Hopefully, Microsoft have future plans for the series should the takeover of Activision go through. Anyone that grew up playing PC games in the 90s will remember SimCity. While there may be a mobile version, and there may be a spiritual successor in Cities Skylines, which is produced by Paradox Games, EA haven't released a mainline SimCity game since 2013. While the game was met with chaos and disaster, as it was initially blocked to only work with an online connection, The game failed to launch with the same reception its predecessors had received, particularly SimCity 4, which is still regarded as one of the greatest PC games of its time. BanjoKazooie, another gem that was first released on the N64 back in the late 90s. A sequel, BanjoTooie, followed in 2000. When Rare was bought by Microsoft, a third game, Nuts and Bolts, was released on the Xbox 360, and the first two games are also playable via Rare Replay. While most of the team that produced these games have since left and started working elsewhere, creating a spiritual successor called Yooka-Laylee, the bear and bird combo have only made one appearance since Nuts and Bolts, and that was on a completely different console for the Nintendo Switch in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Another classic game from the early 90s was Lemmings. This game has been released across multiple platforms and systems, and it was a smart, funny strategy game with funky music and top-notch graphics for its day. However, despite its cross-generational appeal, there hasn't been a Lemmings game released since 2018, which was a mobile game. And that leads us on to our final game, Crazy Taxi. This was a surprising hit from Sega for the Dreamcast and was later ported to other consoles when Sega stopped manufacturing machines. Crazy Taxi was a fun driving game where you collect passengers and drop them off as quickly as possible for a fare, racing against the clock to earn as much money as possible. While we covered the parody game, The Simpsons Road Rage, a few months ago in our Retro Showdown series, no mainline Crazy Taxi game has been released since 2008. While rumours have circulated recently of Sega considering bringing the series back, we've not heard anything in over 15 years of any mainline games. Once again, it's time for Sega to think outside the Sonic box and refresh some of their other glorious IPs. That concludes this roundup of 10 video game franchises that we would like to see have a comeback. Don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our videos. Thank you for watching F9 Gaming. My name is James and we shall see you next time.